Coors Light presents Call the Coach with Nick Rolovich, live from Ruby Tuesday in the Moanalua Shopping Center. Brought to you by No Foods of Hawaii. Say yes to no. The HGEA. We are HGEA Strong. City Mill. Big on help, big on savings. Proud to be local. Hawaiian Financial Federal Credit Union. Xanthocin, the safe anti-inflammatory for health and longevity. Available at GNC. POP Fishing and Marine. Gear, glory, we got it on Pier 38. And Coors Light. Now, here's your host, Bobby Curran on ESPN 1420 and the Sideline Hawaii app.
McDonald back to pass. Again, looking to throw the quick out. It's complete. And this is going to be a first down to Joe Ward. He gets away. JoJo Ward sneaking down the sideline. JoJo Ward into Rice territory. And that's going to be at the Rice 41 or 36-yard line. Oh, my. First and 10 Owls on their own 41-yard line. Power I behind Stan Cabbage, who's under center. And now Stan Cabbage is going to pitch this.
Oh,
fumbled! Fumbled. Hawaii dives on it. Zeno Choi, I think, is the guy who fell on it.
Pavihi.
It is.
Yeah, exactly. But Pavihi is the one who laid the helmet. And Bobby, that was the crunch of the game, brought to you by Popeyes Louisiana Chicken. Love that chicken from Popeyes. Pavihi puts his helmet right on the football, pops it out. Choi falls on it. Does the right thing, in fact, falling on the ball.
Welcome to Call the Coach at Ruby Tuesdays, a special Monday edition. Couple of the really exciting plays. I was really glad that Zeno Choi, and I watched the replay, and he slightly overran it. I wonder if he hadn't. Was he going to try to pick it up? I'm sure he's saying, I know what his answer is going to be. Oh, no, I saw the other guy try that, so I got down on it.
Well, which is smart, and I was thinking that on the sideline, too, after that one debacle where that ball's all over the place.
Yeah.
But if that thing bounced right, I think Zeno would have picked it up and ran it for a while.
I think he might have.
I don't think he would have caught it and fell down. But he made a smart play and got us the ball back. But what a play by Panay.
Oh, what a hit that was, too.
Great momentum swing for us.
No question. And that's, I mean, I do think, I remember Kevin Lempa saying this a long time ago. I don't know if you share this at all, but June never did. But he says it's hard to put up great numbers when you're in the race. He goes, what you can do is turn people over, get stops.
Yeah.
He said, we need to force punts and we need to turn people over. And I don't give a rat's tail about the yards. I only want to get the ball back for the offense.
No, I think that's true.
Yeah.
I think it's true. You're going to play in an offense where it's not like playing in a real heavy run, ball control, field position type of game where the offense is going to keep the ball for a long time, and those are just going to naturally put your defensive numbers down. I think there is an aggressiveness on defense also.
I thought it would be good tonight if we could do this because there were people, I mean, I don't like to hear this. I kind of get it because you're almost a victim. This team is a victim of its own offensive success. The people, when you go 3 and out, a couple of runs, and suddenly people are booing at Aloha Stadium, I was like, wow, how quickly things change. But here's what I think is the problem. I don't think they understand well, and I have to say I am still in the learning phase on this one, of where the RPO thing fits in with the run and shoot. And I understand there are keys that people are reading that are going to dictate sometimes post-snap where you end up going. Maybe can you explain that so people will understand it a little better?
Yeah, and I don't think it was a lot of people booing. I've been booed out of that stadium before and deservingly.
So that was minor. You considered that minor booing.
That was
child's play booing.
If you were there, Portland State 2000, I remember that one.
Oh man,
no,
I do too.
I think it shows the passion of our fan base. Kind of that underground excitement for the team. But back to your question about the RPO, I think you're exactly right. And Stutz has brought a real nice element to the offense. It does fit pretty well with the run and shoot idea of adjusting to what the defense is giving you. And it's a numbers count. It's mostly a second or third level player. I'm talking linebacker, safety. Could be a guy on the line of scrimmage. We're going to put that guy in some kind of conflict with if he's way out of the box, then we're going to run with the numbers. If he's tight in the box, we're going to throw it. But it's really been very successful for us, this year. I mean, you get to see a lot of our points coming off that stuff.
Let me get to the part of that thing. If you decide to run, there's actually two ways to go. You can hand it off to the back, or Cole McDonald can pull it and go.
Not necessarily. That's not. It could end up happening like that if we get a certain structure of the defense, but I would say the majority of them are, hand the ball off to the running back or pull it and throw it.
Okay. So do you not want him running as much?
No. I think we've seen some of the quarterback run stuff that's been really good for us. He got us. I think we called it 2 or 3 times, and some zone reads. Freddie's last touchdown was a zone read call, and that was a big play for us to kind of put that thing away.
You may not remember this name, but there was a guy here that played B-back, which was sort of the fullback, and he was a kid from Federal Way, Washington, named Travis Sims. I know some people here will remember him.
Hey,
and
Travis is, he donated money to Nakoa for the uniforms.
Wow.
He came to practice and talked to Diosemy last year, before Diosemy was about to break his record. He's still good friends with Jason Elam.
Yeah.
He texted me after the first 2 or 3 games for sure.
He wouldn't have a lot of shake to him, but he was really fast. And it reminded when Fred Holly got through the first level, he was just gone. And Travis did that all the Travis did that all the time.
Yeah.
And then a couple of guys are trying to come from the sides, and it was too late.
He may have I don't know what the adjective is, but his calves are something to look at still. This guy's got built. His lower body is built now.
Yeah, he was put together pretty well. Tough tackle too. I bet. No question. So
kind of like Dayton. What Dayton is to Dayton.
Yes, Dayton has that body type.
They have a hard time with Dayton, and I think there's a little bit of punishment dished out when Dayton runs the ball, which is nice because that's going to be part of Army's deal. They got a fullback that can bring it.
In fact, they got 5 of them that will bring it. They rotate. They got 5. They have 3 of their 4 leading rushers are fullbacks. With Army, it's pretty clear. I mean, Navy, it's also somewhat true, but with Army, it's stop the dive or you see it all day.
You're going to get punched in the face all day long.
Yep.
And they're playing just, I don't know if anybody's seen them, but the physicality, the passion that they play with on film traditionally, but, this year for sure, they are fun to watch play football. I think they play it the right way.
Now, this is, I think, I watched the Liberty game because it was on regular TV, so I kind of got up and watched that thing, and it was kind of fun to watch because I don't think that Liberty had as many athletes actually to match up with Army, but Army just runs it down your throat.
You're going to eat it.
Ooh, and I don't think that they're going to differ from that approach, but I'm sure by now you have watched the Duke Army game, and Duke seemed to do a pretty good job against that.
Duke, I think they played them the last 4 years. Duke is a good game. Duke ended up playing well versus them, and
34-14 Duke won.
So you can see Duke this year and Duke last year against them and see kind of what the differences are. They lost some pretty productive D linemen from last year's team. You really like these guys are all over the ball. I mean, they're all running to the ball. Their corners are very thick kids. They're strongly built. They're physical. They got a kind of a safety nickel pass rusher in number 2. He can make some plays. 56 is a guy that can hurt you rushing the passer, and their backers 54 and 19. They are physical guys, and then there's other players, 2, mentioned 2, 7, you see 4 in there. He's a good sized guy. I know he's productive on special teams for him too.
Yeah, I think you'll get what you expect kind of from Army. You'll get relentlessness for 60 minutes. I mean, I don't think they have enough depth that they don't take plays off. I mean, everybody is at it full. So I think one of the challenges, I think, when you play a service academy, first thing up, match their intensity.
Well, they're being trained for battle, right? And you hear it all the time. Every year you play teams from the academies. Football is the greatest time of their day, which should be for everybody who's playing the game, in my opinion. But for Army, it's pretty evident on film that they are enjoying putting the pads on, running around tackling people, or shoving that fullback right down your throat.
No question. So let me ask you about, I thought Malcolm Perry, their quarterback, the Navy quarterback, was pretty darn good. He was, I mean, he's a dynamic player. I don't know, I haven't seen enough of Kelvin Hopkins, the Army quarterback. Is he similar in some ways?
Well, I think the Navy QB is a pretty special athlete.
Yeah.
I think this kid can, you've seen him throw it around and win football games, last year, and I don't know if he's the same. He's a bigger guy than Perry.
A little bit. He's 5'10",
205.
Yeah,
a little bit thicker. But I know he's got a pretty well diversification of skills that he's not just going to run on you. They can open it up and throw it.
Yeah, and obviously I'm looking at the statistics. They do throw it some.
Well, last year probably more, but
no, I don't think you're ever going to see it. For example, in 2 games, they've thrown it 28 times. So I mean, it's 14
it's probably
times
on the high
a
end
game.
for a academy team that runs a triple.
Yeah.
As kind of their base. But they've got a lot of different offshoots of their offense that pose problems.
But let's get back to talking a little bit about Hawaii and some of the guys who have been making contributions for you. Against Navy, I thought the guy who sort of broke out in that game was Manley Williams.
Puma, yeah.
Do you expect that he is going to continue to be a big part of the deal for you guys defensively?
Yeah, I think he's going to have a nice role. A wonderful young man. Really one of those local boys with great personality. Very bright. Understands football very easily. Is able to translate it from the film room to the field. And I think he's feeling good about contributing on a higher level this year as an upperclassman.
Well, it's great. It's fun to watch sometimes the new guys that you weren't expecting to
Happens
hear
every
from.
year, huh?
It does. It happens every year. If you have questions or comments, feel free. If you're in-house, you can give the high sign. We'll get a microphone to you. If you're in a car or home, you can dial 296-1420, and you can talk with Nick Rolovich. We are at Ruby Tuesdays on a Monday, and this is Call the Coach.
You're listening to Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light on ESPN 1420 and the Sideline Hawaii app.
Welcome back to Ruby Tuesdays in Mauna Loa as we are talking with Nick Rolovich. Team will leave tomorrow, 3 in the afternoon. This is about as early as you guys go.
Yeah. Well,
almost like a bowl schedule.
I think it's pretty much the same schedule as we took to UMass. Same flight and same time of the flight, or same day of the flight.
I have to ask this because I've been asked several times.
Okay.
Are you planning to do anything? Will the team be going to ground zero? Will there be any of that as you get
nothing
in? Nothing planned as
nothing planned as kind of big as that was, the 9/11 trip. There were some ideas thrown out. I just wasn't going to force something if it wasn't, let's go. And I think we've toned that down a little bit this year, and I think it's helped us stay focused on the task at hand. We gave out scholarships, but I didn't, if I had a great idea, I didn't have a great idea. I didn't want to waste time. These guys deserve it. Give it to them. Let's get on with, playing the games.
All right, but we will see those occasionally because I know this. If it occurs to you and you like it, it's happening.
Probably.
There you go. We got some callers here, and you feel free. 296-1420. Let's start with Mike. Mike, you're on with Rolo. Go ahead. Mike, you there?
Yeah, I'm here now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Coach Rolo?
Hi, Mike.
First and foremost, I want to wish you and the team great luck up at West Point.
Thank you.
I wanted to address the booing and stuff. It was sad to hear people booing the team, and I think
I don't think they were.
Kids out there.
Say it again, Mike.
I was thinking there's 11 kids on, playing, and they're playing their hearts out, and people forget there's 11 kids on the other side playing their heart out, and things happen, and you can't always score 100 points like you said.
Well.
Go ahead, Coach.
No, there's not one part of me that thinks someone in the stands right there was booing any of our players. I don't think that at all. I think it was the frustration of getting used to some some explosiveness, some offense, and finding a little bit lull in our chemistry and our rolling. And people come to see football. It's not like I said, Mike, I've been booed out of that stadium and probably deservingly before. So that's not how I don't think our team took it that way.
No, and if I may say,
Yeah.
I think they were booing the play caller, essentially.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Well, I've tried to put it as delicately as I can. But I think that was their objection. But I do think part of that stems
I'm
from,
glad people are talking about UH football.
Yep, and I do think some of that comes from not understanding some of the nuances in the RPO element and the fact that quarterbacks or play callers are reading keys to decide what the defense is giving you.
No, and I think you're right. I think there's also, there's been this third quarter. We've seen 3 games go on very similar paths where, it's real explosive and we're having great first halves and we have this big lead, and then the third quarter comes and we start playing down a little bit, and then we've had to pick it back up. They've all been very similar, and I think a little bit of that came out with, and like local people are incredible. They're so observant, and there's a lot of football knowledge. So I think it's just a pattern that has happened, and people are like, oh, we're going to do this again, and when is this going to catch us? I get it.
Hey, Coach Rolo, one thing before I go.
What's your name, please?
Hold on, Chris.
Mike,
or Chris.
Go ahead, Mike. We have a lot of people want to talk, so wrap it up.
Okay, real quick, Coach. The field up there, is it dirt field or is it turf?
I didn't hear it, Mike.
Say it again.
The field, is it dirt or is it turf? Field turf, or is it dirt?
Oh, I think it's turf.
Oh, it's turf. Okay. I was gonna say you reach down and grab some turf from the grass or some dirt, put it in a canister and bring it home. If you win. Anyway.
All right, thanks for the call, Mike. Go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have somebody here in the audience.
Hi. I'm Pauline. I boo. I don't boo players. I don't boo teams. I don't boo coaches. I boo plays. I boo referees. But I don't boo teams. Not our team, not the other team. But sometimes there's stuff that really upsets me. But it's a play.
Yeah?
It's a call. But it's not the players.
No.
It's not the coaches. It's not the teams.
Well, it's the coach.
Maybe
sometimes
it irritates me. But it's not the
We've had a few conversations
players.
before you got the microphone. I know.
But, the coaches, I don't know coaching. I don't know how to coach. I don't know how to coach.
But you know how good football should look.
You know what it looks like when it's right.
And I think that's the passion of the local fan base right now.
Let's get to this, and I wanted to talk about a particular run during the game. I thought that it was as good a goal line stand.
Oh, God, did we screw that up, huh?
Fourth and
unbelievable job by the defense.
Half a foot. I mean, a foot, maybe max. And
no, I don't even think it was that long.
Yeah, I mean, it was very, very close to the goal line.
No, that was a big,
incredible stop.
You know who felt good after this game? The defense. And I understand there's plays that they could have made, but for them to, special teams was not as good as the first 2 games. I think that was obvious. Offensively, I know the execution could be way better than it was, especially in the first half. I mean, we did things in the skill position where I don't even know where it came from, and the defense really had a consistent mindset. They didn't stop them every time. I get that, and we didn't make enough plays that we would have wanted to make, but they made plays at times that were, I thought, had a lot of character to them, and I think they probably felt good having the team count on them, in the second half of that football game.
I kind of felt when you're that close, and I know you played for June, and in fact, I think at one point, because he used to say, if you get stuck inside your own 5, he goes, I'll throw a deep 3. And I think you did that a couple of times when you played for him, didn't you? I mean, where you just say, we are throwing it deep. You just forget it. We're not taking any chances running the football near the goal line. I think it's a little tougher to run it out of the shotgun there, no?
Well, it is. And, that's my fault. That's not any of those kids on offense. I didn't prepare them enough for that situation. And, but, I remember, I think there was another game when we had a safety when we were backed up. We tried to run it out there also. I don't know. Was it Cincinnati maybe?
Could be.
That might be Cincinnati game. You know, but anyway, you know, but that's where some of this RPO stuff comes in. You know, you can pull it and throw it. You can hand it off when the numbers are right. But that was not a very good look for us, and I understand that.
Yeah, and I think the only part about it that really gets everybody, including you guys, is it was you got the momentum so on your side, and then kind of handed it back.
Well, I think we're just trying to keep everyone in suspense.
Well,
no.
Good job.
No.
Well done, then.
No, the third quarter is definitely our low-scoring quarter. You know, all preseason I heard about we couldn't score in the first drive, and now, you know.
3 times in a row you have.
Well, but now we got to address how we coming out at a halftime. And you know what? It might be good for us to not be up a bunch at halftime versus somebody. You know, see what we really are.
We got Brian on the line. Go ahead, Brian.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Brian. Congratulations
on a great win.
Thank you.
I just had a couple of questions, and I'll take your answers off the air.
Okay.
Is there a reason why Ursula is being targeted more often versus the other players instead of spreading the ball around, which you guys are more effective when you guys spread the ball around? And the second question is, what's with the after folks score? What's with the like a pooch kick?
Yeah, that was not how that was supposed to go. But yeah, we can talk about this stuff if you want. You want me to start with the Ursula question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I think he's going to hang up.
You know, he's an unbelievable player. He got targeted, and some of this was by chance in the first. I think he had the first few catches, the first 4 or 5 catches. You know,
6 out of 7 targets.
He was early.
6 out of 7 targets in the first quarter.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's an Ursua thing. I think there's certain defenses, and we saw this kind of with Kalo on Salas also. I think the slots have the ability to be targeted, especially early in the game, maybe when you know you got a little bit more space on the inside, but you know I don't want to say we're targeting John. I think there's things that set up where the slots are more of a viable option.
Yeah.
You know, and not necessarily early on, but probably in the offense. You know, you get the vertical game from the outside guys. They catch the hitches, the back shoulders. You see them on crossing patterns and things like that. I think there's a little bit more on the inside that help guys get open.
Well, the other part, and we'll get to his other question in a second, but the Cedric Bird guy, I mean, he gets his shots.
Yeah, he gets his shots too. I think it probably was the 6 out of 7 stat that you were bringing up. That you know, maybe I think the kid's having a hell of a year, so maybe we should target him more. You know, but no, I think the point was right. Is you'd also want to be able to get everyone involved and have threats all over the field, not just, you know, in the right slot.
I am very confident that we are going to see a lot more from JoJo Ward. That is a good football player.
He's a good kid too, really good kid. Yeah, I think, you know, I know he doesn't have the amount of catches, but he's had some pretty explosive plays for us already.
Yeah, no question. And he's the kind of guy, when he got loose on that, you know, small.
I was surprised he got caught.
I was too a little bit. The guy had a little bit of an angle.
He had an angle, but Joe can run now. That's fun watching John and Joe run down the field together for a long time. That's fun to watch on film.
If you had to bet, and
God, you're gonna get me in trouble in the morning. I know where this is going.
I'm saying, if the 3 guys, Bird, Ursua, and
I might sell tickets to this after the season.
I think
you think we should do that?
I tell you what.
Okay, are we talking a 10-yard dash?
I'll come and announce this. I'm thinking
10-yard, 40, 100.
I think probably 20.
Ooh,
20 would be because that's really where they operate, right? I mean, very rarely are you going. They do go deep some, but a lot of their work is done in 20 yards.
In the first 20?
Yeah. Do you have a guess?
I'm going to have to put that as a Twitter poll. I think people will.
I think
we're going to have to take this to the people.
I think we're going to start tomorrow on my show. We have a poll on the
I'll
show.
Start it right
You're
now.
Okay with that? We'll do that.
Do it.
And we'll put that.
It's hard to say. John's got some pretty good get off. You know, but JoJo can go too. Bird may be the one on film who gets upfield the fastest, though. To be honest, sometimes he's unimpeded because he's in the slot.
Do I have another caller, AC, that I don't see?
I think so. It's Don.
Okay, let's bring him. Don,
Oh, no,
I turned that over to write down a question.
We got to talk about the pooch kick.
Hi.
Hi, Don. Go ahead.
Hi. Good morning. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, Coach. My question, and I'll listen to the answer on my radio. UH committed a very, very serious penalty by hitting that player Owl out of bounds, which cost you guys 15 yards. Why didn't you pull the player out of the game, but you kept them on? Could you answer that, please?
That's not necessarily our rule. I know other people have said if that happens, you should pull them out of the game. I think we've been pretty good with penalties. I think we got 2 personal fouls. One was a hand to the face, and one was that one that was out of bounds. That was the worst penalty we've had all year. I didn't pull him out of the game. I think maybe his emotions got the best of him, but it's hard to see from the other sideline. But the penalty was called, and I get it. People want him out of the game, but if it becomes a huge problem, then we can talk about taking some action with it.
Okay, and you were going to talk about before we got
the pooch kick.
Yeah,
I know. I think Brian asked that. I think. No, that was not the intent of those kicks. They weren't executed to where we were trying to get them to. But they won the kick return battle on us, and they popped a few. So we were going to try to do something differently just like they kind of kicked it to Dayton on that one. Yeah. Trying to change up, not getting in that guy's hands.
One of the things that I'm starting to chart after Navy did it.
Me too. I know where you're going with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing guys. I'm just watching. When people take it anywhere from the 3 or 4 yard line all the way into 2 or 3 yards deep in the end zone and take it out, I'm just charting. They don't get to the 25 very often. I mean, I know there's the chance to break a big one, but especially with the explosive offense you have, I'm thinking the 25 is not a bad place to start.
No, I think our average starting was 18 or something.
Yep, and the other thing
19.
is, if you get a penalty, as most penalties on kickoffs are against the receiving team,
and
then you're starting at the 10.
They're not false starts. Oh. They're holds or personal fouls, blocks in the back, things like that.
So is it something you're taking under advisement?
Yeah, we're talking about that for sure.
Well, we're going to take a quick time out, and we'll be right back with Ruby Tuesday in Moanalua. This is Call the Coach.
Back to Call the Coach, brought to you in part by No Foods of Hawaii and the HGEA on ESPN 1420.
Mark, what's it look like? Is Hawaii fatigued?
No, I would say more pumped up than anything. These guys are ready to rock and roll. They said fourth quarter, it's our time. It's right now.
Well, it is right now because Stankovic is going under center. He's got a power I in front of him. And they are really packed in tight. So they are going to hand it off to Asupa. I don't think he's in.
No,
I think he's short. I think Hawaii may have gotten the stop here.
Yeah, they did.
They did. Hawaii stopped him. He needed about 18 inches and could not get it. Jelani Tavai and Samuela Akote. That was one of the biggest plays, I thought, for the defense on Saturday night at Aloha Stadium. By the way, thank you to No Foods of Hawaii for providing some of our prizes here today. Rolo, I know that you're proud of the defense. One of the things I've noticed over the years, Hawaii fans love good offense. They love big plays. But when Hawaii's defense does something where there's a huge hit or a major stop, I don't think anything rocks that stadium like that does.
No, and it's sad we couldn't take advantage of it, really, because I think we captured a bunch of momentum, and then we turn it right back,
Let me get to this. When you go up to Army, and I know that you typically don't go to the stadium. I mean, you usually don't go to Mikey Stadium. You'll usually practice high school or junior college.
Yeah.
Is that the plan?
Yeah. Well, we'd probably get out recruiting a little bit, but also hit, practice near our hotel at the high school. They've been very gracious and accommodating, and we actually got a couple people in common, so
Good.
Small football world.
Cool. Yeah, it really is. Let's get to the phones. We got Ryan on the line. Hey, Ryan, what's up?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Sure do.
Hey, Coach. I'd just like to congratulate you and the Warrior football team for a great start to the season. I've been following your team since I retired from the Army about a year and a half ago. I'm up there at Wheeler Army Airfield. Unfortunately, you're my favorite team except for this weekend. So you're playing my alma mater there at West Point, and it sure does look like it's going to be a great game with what I think will be like Army's game against North Texas last year. A lot of offense. We'll see if the two defenses can stop each other. But I got two questions for you, Coach. The first one is, what do you see as the main difference between the Navy triple option and the Army triple option, and how do you see that kind of unfolding? And, of course, my last question is, in the second week of December, who wins, Army or Navy?
Hey, you got to call next week on that one. You got to call next week on that one.
Second question is the next week
that's the next week. We'll put you on speed dial next week.
Roger that.
I appreciate your service, Ryan, and appreciate your support. I think it goes down to more of a mentality, where Navy, is, and talking with Coach Batoon about it, you kind of get a little bit better understanding. But Navy is not as downhill, in your face, just physically pushing you the wrong way, and really just there's an element of punishment with their style. Navy does have that, especially up front, but I think they use a little bit more of a skill player, obviously, in the quarterback, but there's a little bit more perimeter run. Not that Army can't do that, but I think it starts downhill, in your face, from the very start with Army, and then they play off of that.
I think that's a really good description, because you can sort of sense, maybe, and I don't know, it's respective to the coaches, because what's kind of interesting, Jeff Monken is also a Paul Johnson disciple, as Kenny was, but they've each kind of gone on a slightly different tack. And Monken obviously loves the physical stuff.
He's done a great job. Yeah, he's really done a nice job. And, I know we got a local coach up there on the staff with Sean, and he does a nice job recruiting Hawaii for Army. And, they had a great year. So it's going to be, I know we knew Colorado State was going to be a challenge. We knew Navy was going to be a challenge. I think Rice, I'm glad we didn't take them lightly, because they were better than I think we initially thought they would be. When you're talking about, in the spring and all that stuff, you look at the schedule. But this one, I think we knew from the very start that our mentality better be on point for this one, or this one could hurt you. And you talk about triple option teams and how physical they are. You can't let them beat you twice.
No question. Let's get to John on the line. Hey, John, how are you?
Hey, guys, I'm great. Coach, congratulations on 3-0. It's been a long time coming, and it's a great year. I just have a few things. I only booed the referee when he threw the flag on that late hit out of bounds, just so y'all know.
Okay.
But as far as the earlier caller, I don't think that pulling a player out for one foul is necessary or smart. Like you said, if it's repeated over and over, obviously there's an issue. But, stuff happens. It's a passionate game. That's an overreaction for sure. I also wanted to say that I think it would be so totally awesome, and I know the budget is probably the constraint, if we had a mascot back, or those drummers, or anything that we had in 2007. That was so fun to be around. So that's all I wanted to say. And thank you again, Coach.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it. I would agree with him. And I think, the first point, some people have that rule, right? You get a penalty, you come out of the game, and I think that resonates, has a little bit of an old school feel to it out here in Hawaii. But as the second one, I'd like to do whatever we can to enhance that Aloha Stadium game day experience. And it's not that I think there's been an incredible effort this year of trying to improve it, but I think you're right. I think a mascot would be cool. I think we've talked about that numerous times on this show over the last couple of years. you're right. The drummers were entertaining. The problem is they all grew up and got scholarships and started playing. But no, that was a really good time in UH history, and I think everyone shares your feelings there, John.
Thank you, John. We've got Dennis on the line. Hey, Dennis, what's happening?
Hey, Coach. With our offense, can we do this? Speed up offense. And my second question is, Miles Reed, given his size, can we convert him to a slot or receiver?
Okay, I think he wants to know two things. Do you want to play at pace sometimes, which is sort of no huddle-ish? Go ahead.
We've done a few plays at a no huddle pace. Hasn't been terribly effective. We do have the ability to do it, and I think there will be a time where that could help.
Okay. The other question was, is there a place for Miles Reed, perhaps, other than running back?
Okay. I would say not at this point. I think an athlete like Justice Algafa is a guy who can do multiple things for us as a receiver or in the backfield. But I think Miles, I think we probably saw his quickness and his ability to run hard, even though he's a smaller guy, and want to get him carries, want to get Dayton more carries, want to get Freddie, his carry. I think Elijah Dale can be explosive for us. There's only so many plays when the majority of the things you do is throw the ball. Pass protection comes first.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Dennis. We have another John on the line. John, what's happening?
Hello, John.
All I can say to start off with is thank God you brought the run and shoot back. Thank you so much. I got a question. Some of your staff is holding up signs on the sideline. Interesting enough, the first time I saw that happen was a Rich Ellerson coached Army team had come to Hawaii. And they're holding up something, it's probably assignment blocking or whatever. But they're holding the card up on the snap, and there's a lot of us in the first 8 rows that have spent a ton of money on season tickets and premium seating. And there's no way the guys are going to look over at the sideline when the ball's being snapped because they're having to, do what they do.
Good
observation. And I was just wondering if you could maybe talk to the boys about dropping those placards just before the snap.
Very, very good. That's a recommendation I could dig on right there. John, I thank you for noticing that. I'll spread that word. I don't think that makes much sense when they're supposed to be watching the snap of the ball.
Yeah.
That's easy. That's great to hear.
All right, John. There you go. I think your prayer is answered there. Good job. We got to take a quick timeout.
Jeez.
We do. It's going so fast. So get your questions ready when we come back. This is a special Monday edition at Ruby Tuesdays of Moanalua, and this is Call the Coach.
You're listening to Call the Coach, presented by Coors Light on ESPN 1420 and the Sideline Hawaii app.
We got a couple of minutes. We're going to try to get some of the texts. We sort of went through and thought a couple of these are particularly interesting. We've already actually covered the handoff in the end zone that followed the goal line stand. So I'm going to move on to this one. Why was the drop fair catch not allowed to be picked up and advanced?
It's a great question, and it's an interesting part of the new rule change. The new fair catch rule on kickoffs, if you fair catch inside the 25, you catch it, you get it at the 25. But if you drop it, like happened in our game, the ball is now dead there.
Ooh.
You have to touch it. It's still a live ball, if you know what I mean. But wherever you can't advance it, wherever you touch it, that's where the ball goes. So that's kind of the other side of the coin.
Well, to me, I want a guy who's got glue fingers back there.
Right. No,
it does sort of seem
important.
I
think the Navy game, like you brought up earlier, I started seeing that and go, maybe we should. You got Bird back there returning kicks. You want to see maybe if he can, spit one out or Justice, but the facts are the facts.
Yeah.
With
25 is pretty good.
Well, and
relative to what often happens.
And is if it's not 25, if you're returning stuff and it's 26 or 27, are those 2 yards even worth it? You know, as far as you're talking about health, you're talking about unnecessary. That's why I got mad at Cedric Byrd when he fair caught that one in the first game and he's just standing in the end zone. I said, get down and take a knee, so they blow the whistle and all these
guys stop. The contact
guy stops. Yeah. And when you talk to him, he's like, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
You know.
All right, here's another one I think is interesting.
Okay.
Is Caimana Padello's sprinter-type stance before the snap something he thought of on his own, or was he coached up to line up that way? It seems to give him an explosive and elusive advantage against O-linemen.
Yeah, he's not an incredibly tall person, but he's got an unbelievable motor, and I think he gives people fits, and if that helps him get off the ball quicker, we're all for it, especially in obvious passing situations where he can get after. I don't know. I think he had 3 holding penalties in that game a couple of weeks ago, and then he made a few plays for us in the backfield this week. And you talk about a kid who's all about just desire, doing things right. After the Colorado State game, they're carrying him into the locker room because he's having a full body cramp. He left. You talk about leaving everything on the field. He did it.
That's him. No, I think you got it right. Scott's brother seems to be kind of cut out of the same cloth.
Oh yeah, they're very similar as far as mentality, and they provide, other than the stats and the physical stuff, they provide a pretty significant value of character on our football team.
All right, this is a last text we'll get here. How did Rice's 3-4 defense affect our run and shoot?
I think there's a lot of ways that can go. I commend them on how hard they played and did a couple things that may have been a little bit different from what we were expecting. I was more disappointed in our execution offensively. I think with 4 receivers, there's I understand the 3-4 and the 4-down looks and things like that, but I think it was more of our execution that frustrated me and probably stymied our offense more than things that they did. I know we don't have a lot of time, but that's kind of my thought process there.
And so we're going to get in a minute or so, probably to the point.
Maybe we should talk about this Twitter poll I put up.
Okay, let's do that.
We got to talk about the fastest receiver in the 20-yard dash. Right now, we have Cedric Byrd winning with 97 votes. Or out of 97 votes, 46% people are voting Cedric Byrd. Joe Ward, second place, 34%. John Ursua, 20%. I should have put a 4th option there.
Why? So then John Ursua wouldn't have been last?
I don't know. Maybe Cole LaValle.
Cole LaValle. There you go. Tulima.
The people have spoken. Oh, Justice. Yeah, Justice could have been in there.
Yes, he could.
He can run.
Yeah, no question. He can run. Interesting. I don't think there's a slow guy in that group. In fact, I do think teams that don't have elite speed in the back end are going to find Hawaii a handful all year. Agree?
Well, that'd be nice. Yeah, that'd be okay.
It'd be hard, it's just hard to think that if you're not quick in the back end, you're going to, because it's not like you just can take one guy out of it. You got 3 guys right now, 3 that you are a handful. And we've seen all 3 of them break big plays. So I think that is something every defensive coordinator is probably having an occasional sleepless night.
Yeah,
getting ready for that.
Rice tried to keep
in front.
Keep everything in front.
Yep.
And that's a certain point you gotta take what they're giving.
Well, I think when in the old days when June was, we'd see some teams try that.
Oh yeah.
They're just going to say, okay, we'll give you 6 or 7, and we'll bank on you guys messing up before you get to the end zone. But a lot of times it didn't happen.
No.
Because if it did, they wouldn't have scored 60-odd points.
There's a lot of answers, and it's just about executing and understanding that the main goal of this whole deal is putting that ball in the end zone.
Okay, you want to shake these up, Nick? We got to do our pay it forward deal right now.
Who's going to pick? You going to pick today?
I don't mind. You want to pick? I'll shuffle. You pick. How's that?
How about?
You got the whole thing.
I'll shovel past you one.
Okay, here we go. I don't like catching the slip with my back to the crowd. All right, here we go. Derek Grubb. Where is Derek Grubb? There he is, right back there. Derek, come on up here, Derek. And you know the deal, right? You've seen the Pay It Forward before. This started a few years ago with the idea that Nick would give away $100 and request, but not demand, that you find a way to pay that forward somehow, to make that sort of grow in whatever way you think of. But you don't have to, but you're encouraged to do it, and if you do, we want to hear about it. We'd like to share your story.
Okay, I just want to give it back to the program. How's that?
Well, I guess.
I could do that. People have done that.
You can do that. You can hand it right back to the coach, and it's right back to the program.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek.
Thank you.
All right, good job.
Let me make sure I get your name up.
Derek. Your name is going to be on that.
I'll bring this to Nicola. Thank you, Derek.
That was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Hey, you're not going to believe this.
Sure.
We are totally out of time.
Totally out?
Completely. It's the out time. It's my out cue, which means I have to thank everybody here at Ruby Tuesday. The response on a short change from Tuesday to Monday has been fabulous. Thank you so much for coming. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck at Army, for everybody at ESPN and from Ruby Tuesday.